So I've had a few people ask me what mods I'm using when I'm playing Cyberpunk 2077 in VR. Now, I don't have a million of them or anything, but I do have quite a few that I'm going to go over now. And we'll start off with gameplay and quality of life mods, and then we'll move into graphics mods after that. So let's get started. Okay, first, before you try to install all these mods, you should first disable the R.E.A.L VR mod. Otherwise, you're probably going to get some errors and the game won't even boot up. This is super easy to do. You just go into the file with your R.E.A.L mod. For most of you, it's going to be C, Program Files, x86, Steam Library, Steam Apps, Common, Cyberpunk, Bin, x64. What you're going to look for is the DXGI DLL, and you're going to rename it to DXGI_back.dll. And now you're done. Now the game will start up in flat screen and you don't have to worry about it anymore. But to re-enable the VR mod, just simply reinstall the mod like you always have. Before we get too far into the list, these are mods that you're going to need that are just requirements for all the other mods on the list. It might as well install those first, then you won't have to worry about any of those requirements. Although you should probably always check the requirements just to be sure. Also, all of the mods I'm going to mention here are simply installed with Vortex unless I otherwise specify. Okay, Cyber Engine tweaks, RedScript, Red4X, native UI settings, and Cyber CMD. Enhanced Police. I love this mod. It has a police spawn in cars and on bikes when you're up to no good instead of them just instantly spawning on foot all around you. They all spawn farther away depending on how wanted you are. Another great thing is they will actually chase you, which is super fun, and they call backup, but I think for the time being the backup thing is disabled. But it leads to some really fun car chases, and if you're lucky enough you'll get away, and maybe you won't. Life path bonuses and gang corp traits. So, of course, you've probably noticed that no matter what life path and what gang member you're fighting, it's all pretty much the same. Life path bonuses and gang corp traits takes all those combat aspects and changes them so that animals behave and are strong and weak to different things than Valentinos are, and so forth. For instance, animals are immune to choking or grapple and are resistant to non-melee weapons, so you'll have to fight them up close and personal. There is a huge list of all the changes that he has made on his Nexus page. This mod also changes aspects for you depending on your life path and affects what gangs are friendly towards you and are not so much. So you'll get bonuses and penalties respectively. Also, fighting people you know will be easier for you and them. You'll get very little street cred for killing them because it hurts your reputation with the group. You will also get more money for familiar groups since you know what is valuable when you search them. So for example, I am a nomad in my current playthrough. My familiars are Aldecados, 6th Street in South California, and Wraiths. They will be easy to fight, but I'll only get like 0.25 times street cred multiplier versus 1.5 times for non-familiars. And the money reward will be 5 versus 2 respectively. AI Netrunners Enhanced. This is another great one because not only does it add more netrunners to your enemies, but it gives them many more hacks than just overheat. There's 10 possible enemy hacks, 5 damage, 4 control, 1 ultimate, and each netrunner is given a catalog of 3 hacks. There is a real nice menu in the mod settings tab that lets you turn aspects of this mod off and on. It just makes combat way more interesting to have netrunners all over the place trying to hack you, and when they do, it's more fun with all the different hacks and not just overheat. You should also install amateur hackers. This just adds more netrunners, but they are average hackers, where 30 to 50% of enemy groups with 5+ people should have at least one of these hackers. They are not powerful netrunners, and quick hack uploads take longer and they can't quick hack as often, and they have longer cooldowns as well, and as a smaller selection of hacks. But you'll notice a difference right away though with these two mods when they're not working, and you're definitely going to miss all those hackers. This next mod is more of a framework mod for other modders that allows them to add like virtual stores and auto stores and a clothing store into the game computer screens like V's apartment. It's called Virtual Atelier. I think that's pronounced correctly. I haven't used this one for any stores actually, but I have used it for the next mod that I'm going to talk about. Stock market and news system. So this one is fun because you can make money by manipulating things that are going on in the cyberpunk world. Like, before you go to do the heist, buy some Militech stock. Since Arasaka is about to get shot up and their competitor's stock will go up and you will make money. Or after Delamain has his runaway cab issue, his stock will be low. Buy some, and then when you go out and start having a bunch of accidents, and people are going to start taking a cab, and their stock will increase in value, thus you will make money. These actions will also be reflected in the news system in the game as well. SDO, or Scissors Difficult Options. I love this mod. If you've played Cyberpunk for any amount of time, you get how the farther you get into the game, you become so overpowered that nothing really seems to be a challenge anymore. Well, this one changes that for sure. It adds a bunch of difficulty options in from the mod settings menu, like disabling shooting delays on enemies or adding powerful mini-bosses to organize crime activities. It adds more cyber enemies, and you can even add things like immersive damage effects where you'll get stunned and unable to shoot for a couple seconds after you get shot. It's just a really great little mod to help make things more challenging for veteran players. Cybervehicle Overhaul is a mod that does what it says. It overhauls every single vehicle with top speeds, gearing, power, handling, and brakes. You'll notice the difference with all of the cars on this one. They're not all created equal, which then takes me to the next mod, Bike Overhaul. Bike Overhaul, which just makes all bikes faster and handle much better for someone like myself who primarily drives motorcycles everywhere, is a must. Unlimited carry weight. So I don't know about you, but I really get tired of having to stop and go through my inventory all the time due to being bogged down with too much weight. This is one of those things added to RPGs that just annoys me to no end. So unlimited carry weight adds 1 billion to your carry weight. So you can be pretty sure you will never need to stop what you are doing to go through and disassemble extra guns again, unless of course you want to make components. And speaking of pains in the ass, any Ripperdoc will sell any cyberware. Do you get tired of having to drive all over Night City just to try and find that one piece of cyberware that you can't remember where it is? Well, any Ripperdoc will sell any cyberware takes care of that issue, making it so every Ripperdoc has all the available cyberware. I mean, if you want to travel all over, that's fine, but I would rather do that because I want to take in the sights, not to try and find that right Cyberdeck or Sandevistan. And since we were talking about Ripperdocs, Immersive Rippers is a great mod that adds to the whole Ripperdoc experience. You know how when you walk into their office, you're greeted with a menu screen and that's it? Well, with this mod, you walk into the Ripperdocs and you actually sit in their chairs and they walk over to you and then you get the menu. I know it's not super exciting, but it feels more like what should happen there. I'd still love to have actual animations of all the cyberware installed, but it's better than vanilla. Scrap your items to obtain crafting recipes. We had talked earlier about stopping to break down your items in your inventory. Well, scrap your items to obtain crafting recipes enables you to obtain crafting recipes by scrapping the items, as the title suggests. So you'll be able to craft all weapons and consumables, grenades, attachments, mods, and clothing. You will however, need to have a crafting skill high enough to get those recipes. Stand still, please. This is just another quality of life mod that stops V from constantly fidgeting when you're in character creation menus at the beginning or altering your appearance at Ripperdocs, so you can actually see what's going on and she isn't constantly putting her hand in her face. Nothing real fancy here, I just personally like it. Breach Takedown. Now, I know some people don't use Breach Protocol, but I personally do before every combat situation because I just like to upload as many demons as I can. Yes, this minigame can be a bit tedious after a while, but Breach Takedown is a mod that makes that issue disappear. Just sneak up behind an enemy and grapple them. You will then see an option to breach. Then the minigame will show up and you simply click on a number and all of your demons will be instantly uploaded. Why not get all the help you can get, right? Real vendor names. This is another quality of life mod I like. This is just nice because you can see the actual vendor names on the map instead of generic name like Ripperdoc. It will actually say Vix or Fingers or whatever you're looking for. Pet your cat. Okay, first you're going to actually have to get your cat. To do that, you'll have to go outside V's apartment to the hallway to the left, or right, depending on which way you're facing. There you will see a shard and a barrel that tells you to feed the cat. So you're going to need to get some cat food. There may be other spots, but where I've found it is back behind the Grand Imperial Mall in Pacifica on the number 5 loading dock. After you've picked up the food, return to that barrel where you found the shard and you'll see a bowl on the ground. Place the food there and then go back to your apartment and go to sleep. When you wake up, you'll see Nibbles the cat chowing down, and Johnny will be pretty excited about that. Pick her up and you'll have your cat. Now that you've gotten Nibbles but you're frustrated, you can't pet her. I'm a huge cat lover and this makes me very sad. Well, now I can pet her whenever I want to pet my cat. Seriously. How is this not a thing in the game to begin with? Note to all video game devs. Let us pet our cats, or dogs, or whatever pets we have. All Cyberware-EX. So, one of the things that I didn't like about vanilla Cyberpunk is it made me choose between a Cyberdeck or a Sandevistan. Well, all Cyberware-EX, you can add more Cyberware slots to get maximum abilities if you like, but I personally just use it to add an extra slot so I could have both the Cyberdeck and a Sandevistan. It might also be nice to have 2 slots for your hands so you could have both the smart gun targeting and ricochet with power weapons. Ragdoll Physics Overhaul. This is a must for me. If you've ever noticed a vanilla game, many times when you kill an enemy, their leg sticks up in the air, like their whole body just goes like stiff as a board. Well, this mod fixes that and improves limb flexibility and gives greater variety of final poses and more natural animations to the gonks you just zeroed. It has a Vortex download, but I installed this one manually because it doesn't seem to work with Vortex for me. Enemies of Night City. This is a great mod that just makes enemies more interesting and challenging by giving them unique abilities, strengths and weaknesses, as well as diverse movesets. Each faction has its own unique traits and enemy archetypes, so you'll be able to change up your playstyle depending on what enemies and factions you're fighting. Bosses will be much more difficult with their very fast movements and abilities, like Smasher can now use his own Sandevistan and he'll keep up with yours when you're using it, no problem. So you can also adjust stats changes in the mods menu. Okay, that's gameplay and quality of life mods. Now let's get to graphical mods and make the games look as sweet as you can. Mango's Ultra Reshade. I've tried a couple of reshades, and Ultra Enhanced Reshade is one of them, and this one is just much better. It does a great job of fixing TAA blurriness, and it removes that green tint and improves the overall image quality. The colors just pop with this mod. It really gives it that HDR look. You may take some hits to frames per second, but with the 4090 or 90, I haven't noticed that at all. I know, 4090 flex. Improved draw distance. This just increases the draw distance in the game so you can see more detail in the distance, which is really great in VR. It's just makes a huge difference when you see it. I'm floored with how much more realistic everything feels, and you can really see so much more. I really haven't noticed any loss in FPS with the 4090. More blood splatters. I don't know about you, but in vanilla Cyberpunk just doesn't have near enough blood. Well, more blood splatters adds a decal system and increases the amount of blood you get from blowing your enemies away. And as long as we're working with more blood, more gore is another mod you want if you are the kind of person that likes that kind of thing, like me. This one has a manual download and install where you just simply add the archive file to your mod folder. I love it so much. Vanilla Billboards LOD improved. This just improves the level of detail and textures of all the billboards in the game. It's a little one, but it makes a big difference. Disable Bloom. This mod is another must for me. The bloom in Cyberpunk is blinding, especially when you're driving a car, and it tends to wash out the colors quite a bit too. This mod is just a manual install where you place the Disable Bloom ini file in the path they tell you to right there on the download page. So there it is. This is the mod list that I currently use. There have been many others I've tried with disabled, like a survival mod where you have to eat, drink, and sleep, or the wannabe Edgerunner mod where you get cyberpsychosis. Those just annoyed me, to be honest. Mods like the Metro System mod is cool and all, but I would rather drive my motorcycle from point A to point B. I could never get Let There Be Flight mod to work, but if you can, I hear flying cars and bikes are pretty cool. I hope this was helpful and will help you make this game even more of an amazing experience than you've had before. If it was, I would really appreciate a like and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell for more Cyberpunk VR videos in the future. Thanks for watching. Dr. Greg, out.